Once upon a time, there was a little boy called Rufus who loved writing stories.
Little Rufus dreamed of being a writer, so he studied English literature. Don't tell him that he should, else he might fight you. Even though it's true, even though he is second worst writer in the world. Second worst writer in the world. Second worst writer in the world. The second worst writer in the world. He's so mediocre he can't even claim to be the worst writer. So if you think about it, he's actually worse than the worst writer in the world.
You alright there, Howard?
Oh, yes, I'm so good here. How are you there?
I'm very well, thank you. Hey, this story about mole people has been pretty good, right? I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the last two episodes, not so much.
yeah, well, get ready for the worst one yet.
Hooray!
Yeah.
Well, is this the worst writer in the world?
Yeah, so it has to go downhill. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Kind of like a mole. They go downhill, don't they? But like really down. Not at an angle,
Well,
just strictly down.
They
Although,
create
is that an
hills.
angle going directly down? Is that an angle?
Do you think it's a coincidence that moles rhymes with holes and that's what they make?
No, I think that God planned it that way.
Because it's make holes, isn't it? That's what they do.
It is, yes.
So moles is actually just an abbreviation of make holes.
It is,
I
isn't
think
it?
it might be, right?
Like Brangelina.
Yeah, almost
like a
exactly like that.
mole in a
'Cause
hole
they
got
make,
married.
'cause they make holes as well. They're always digging in my garden. So I wake up in the morning, I'm like, "Oi, Brad Pitt, stop digging holes in my garden." Right, you ready to start?
I am ready to start.
Okay, here I go. It is interesting to note that in this chapter, Rufus says that death created the humanoid mole people, whereas in young Howard's story, it was God who made them. However, this is not a mistake. It's just that Rufus recently Mandela'd here from another probability universe where death did create the humanoid mole people, and so actually Rufus was completely correct and it's the universe that is wrong. You know, like all the other Mandela effects that people bang on about on the internet. Oh no, of course it's not you that remembered some piece of history or pop culture wrongly. It's because you spontaneously switched universes. That makes a lot more sense than you being wrong about something. And no, it's not in the least suspicious that most of the things you Mandela effect people got wrong are about black people. Oh, you weren't aware of Nelson Mandela's political career in South Africa after he was released from house arrest? Well, that must be the universe's fault. Oh, you mixed up which black man starred in a film. Well, that's because you're a universe jumper, not because you're a stupid racist. Anyway, the point is, from now on, it was death who created the humanoid mole people, and if you remember it any other way, you're wrong, and probably racist.
Right. Doesn't it mean that you're the racist though? Because you're the one that's Mandela and
Shh. No, it means
right.
it means canon. What I just said is that anyone who disagrees with my interpretation of the world is a racist.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, here we go with the plot so far. Erick Jenkins, a man who loves movies about humanoid mole people, has been killed by humanoid mole people. PC John Wilkinson, a man who doesn't believe in and can't see humanoid mole people, has been killed by humanoid mole people. Matilda Edmead, a woman who loves digging, humbugs and playing harmless japes on her co-workers, has been killed by humanoid mole people. The humanoid mole people, a race of humanoid mole people, have been killed by humanoid mole people. Or rather, one specific humanoid mole person called Eladravin Bandan, who is so clever and good at science that 2 short months after arriving in Hell, he was elected mayor of Hell in one of Hell's famous democratic elections. Although, I suppose he did get super rich first, so maybe it's not that democratic after all.
There you go, yeah.
Elsewhere, there was a group of 26 celestial beings who, you might remember in part 1, were also called the Smith family. Although that was never mentioned again, so maybe it was a mistake. Anyway, these 26 celestial beings were playing a game, and the game was called Life. Not snakes and ladders.
Really big snakes.
Although, what with the game encompassing all existence, it did include many snakes and several ladders.
Brilliant.
So, at the end
Daleks climbing up them ladders.
so many Daleks sliding down those snakes. So, at the end of episode 9, the humanoid mole people had drilled their way into hell. They'd linked up with Eladravin Bandan, and they decided to go and ask Satan for help with finding some more tasty washing machines to eat, which is their sole motivation.
Yeah, don't forget that bit.
And now, it's time for the final part of Revenge of the Living Dead Went the Wrong Way Humanoid Mole People, Chapter 394, The Drilling Dead Drilled the Wrong Way, Drillinoid Drill People.
Good.
There's no reason for that title.
Oh, no.
I couldn't think
We're never going to get the Drillinoid Drill
very
people.
little drill.
Oh, shit. We're looking forward to the same thing as last time.
No.
But with, like,
Don't worry, it's totally different.
Like,
I just needed a title.
Sentient drills.
Lord Satan was, quite frankly, too old to be watching TV shows about Sturgill, Floppy and Pronk people. He was almost as old as the universe itself, for goodness sake. And this TV show, which was called Attack of the Oxymoronic Went Up When They Should Have Gone Down, Sturgill, Floppy and Pronk People, was for kids and idiots, not hip and groovy ancient elemental forces like Lord Satan. But watch it, he did do. And he was do. And he have do. Oh, I do enjoy a good TV show about Sturgill, Floppy and Pronk people, said Satan as he lowered himself into the bath and set about giving his penis a good soaping. Pat Pong, death's at your door, shouted a voice. Come on, open your door to death. I promise you won't regret it. Satan swore under his breath. Fucking jamwazzocks. Satan had forgotten the old maxim, if you want to be left alone, first smash your doorbell and kill everyone in the whole world. I'm coming, Satan shouted as he pulled himself out of the bath and punched his penis until it stopped sticking out so much. I don't often take an evening off, you know. I was watching my favourite TV show, which isn't about Sturgill, Floppy and Pronk people, in case you were wondering, because I'm too grown up for that. Satan quickly switched to the History Channel, which was banging on about how Hitler was a space alien or something. Oh. Then he wrapped a towel around his waist and squelched over to answer the door. What are you doing here, Death? Death stuff, said Death. I've got a couple of new damned souls for you. Death shoved the nervous-looking ghosts into Satan's office. I'm not expecting anyone. They say they were killed by humanoid mole people. I don't suppose you'd know anything about that? Said Satan. No, I certainly didn't steal your humanoid mole people, bring them to life, kill them with a highly convoluted, humbug-based plan, then resurrect them, which, as I'm sure we all know, is the only way to make moles evil. That's all right then, said Death, and Satan slammed the door in his face.
Rude.
It is interesting to note that Satan has appalling manners and rarely says please or thank you before sticking a pitchfork up your bum. You two shouldn't be here, Satan told the ghosts. You're not supposed to be dead. That's fine with me, said Erick Jenkins. I'm perfectly happy not to be dead and in hell, thank you very much. Satan walked around his big desk, sat in his big chair, and fixed the ghosts with a big glare. We've met before, haven't we? Said Matilda Edmead. You're the enormous red bloke who sold me those humbugs that I definitely didn't shove up me backside. No, I'm not. You are. I'd recognise those horns anywhere. That was a different big red guy with horns, said Satan. He was wearing a hat, wasn't he? And I'm not wearing a hat, so it couldn't have been me. Yeah, but The hat he was wearing, said Matilda, is on that shelf over there, look. Enough of this hat conversation, said Satan. How did you two losers die? We got eaten by moles, said Matilda. Humanoid mole people, said Eric. They're only called mole people because they live underground. They're not actual moles, they're mole people. People who live like moles, drilling and everything. They're not called people moles, which would be a logical name for moles that live like people, drilling and everything. Do you mind if I ask? Said Matilda. Why are we in hell? What did we do wrong? Was it because I stuck all those humbugs up my arse and gave them to my colleagues? You're not in hell yet, said Satan. It's my job to interview you and find out what should happen to you. Hell, heaven, resurrection, or rebirth. If I'd known hell was real, I might have tried to be a better person, said Eric. If I get resurrection, I'll definitely do loads of charity work and be nice to puppies and pat children or whatever. Yeah, and I'll definitely put fewer things up my backside and try to get people to eat them. I wouldn't worry too much, said Satan. The bar to get into heaven is set extremely low. God's all about forgiveness, you see. If you've done a bit of larceny... or fraud, or the odd harmless murder, you can still go. You're basically all right as long as you haven't committed genocide. Satan grabbed his checklist and picked up a pen. But first we have to find out what you are. Question 1. Have you ever heard of fridges? What? Said Eric. What kind of question is that? Satan's pen hovered over the box marked uncivilised. Of course we've heard of fridges, said Matilda. How do you think we keep our cheese cold? Yeah. Good, so you're civilised. Question 2. Can you describe a drill to me? Well, it's a tool, isn't it? For making holes in things, added Matilda. It's got a bit on the end that spins around. And it's really good. Said Eric, who loved drilling.
Yeah!
Oh, yeah, drills are brilliant, said Matilda. I like drills too, said Satan. And so does God.
Yeah.
It is interesting to note that there is no one in the universe who doesn't love drilling.
Yeah, good. Well, that's why I chose to write about it in the first place.
You're just aware of what's popular.
A universal topic.
Yeah. Right, said Satan, making a note on his checklist. You're not humanoid mole people. Those idiots are too stupid to know what a drill is. But aren't they nature's drills? Said Matilda. They're not actual moles, said Eric. How many times? Question 3, said Satan. Can you shit a pat on the floor and produce milk? Eric and Matilda raised their eyebrows so high that their eyes nearly fell out. You're not blurkinoid cow persons then, said Satan. OK, look at this. Satan held up a large photograph of a soldier in uniform. Next to the picture was some text in large insistent letters. The text read, "This veteran fought in 3 wars, but now he's homeless and can't afford cake. But illegal immigrants get benefits of £863 million a week and eat as much cake as they want. Share if you think the government should stop giving taxpayers' money to illegal immigrants and give it to brave soldiers instead." What do you think of that? Asked Satan. I think it's stupid, said Matilda. Yeah, said Eric. The government should do something about those illegal immigrants. It's ridiculous that someone who fought for his country gets nothing and illegal immigrants get a big free house and loads of cake, said Matilda, even though no one had even mentioned a free house.
Yeah.
I'd better share this picture to let everyone know about this despicable situation, said Eric, then leaned across the desk and began prodding the photo. Yeah, I'll share it too, said Matilda, reaching out her index finger and doing the same. You're human, said Satan. Fucking morons. Yeah. Right, let's get on with this test, shall we? It won't take long, it only has one question. Here it is. Have you ever committed genocide? Brilliant. No, said Eric. No, said Matilda. Says here that you have, said Satan, consulting his big 1990s computer. Matilda Edmead, responsible for the deaths of hundreds of humanoid mole people due to carelessness with bum humbugs. Mm-hmm. But you gave me those humbugs. Doesn't matter, you're going to hell. That's not fair. Look, my job's difficult enough as it is. It's not enough to tempt people into adultery and greed and larceny anymore. Now, I have to persuade them to do genocides. So shut up. Here's your £200 for passing Hell Go. Now get out. Yeah. Satan clicked his fingers and Matilda disappeared. Well, I definitely haven't done any genocide, said Eric. Says here you've done 3. What? When you were 8, you poured boiling water on an ant nest, murdering the whole colony. That was almost 2,000 ants, you murderer. Wait a minute. And, apparently, you swallow 6 spiders every year while you sleep. And considering you're a grey-haired, grey-moustached, not unhandsome man, that's got to be 300 spiders in your lifetime, you murderer. But no, that's a myth. It's not true. Oh, really? Then why did you tell your twin sister about it? When you were chasing her with your spider hands in the 1600s and then marrying that squire and then murdering everyone in the whole town? Hang on, that's another genocide. That makes 3. Satan handed Eric his £200 and welcome to hell goodie bag. I think you've got me mixed up with someone else, said Eric. You can't put me in hell for something that happened 400 years ago to someone else. Good. His voice always cracked oddly when he was super scared. I think you'll find a can do, and a will do, and a have do. Satan clicked his finger. No, his finger. Satan clicked his fingers, and Eric disappeared. Everything was quiet. Fucking jamwazzocks, said Satan. And they couldn't even be bothered to sacrifice a pig to me before they left. So selfish. I'll have to do it myself then. But before Satan got the chance to sacrifice a single pig to himself, there was a knock at the door. Satan grabbed a pen and scribbled a quick note, which said, I owe me 1 dead pig, signed Satan. Enter, he shouted, and the door swang open to reveal...
Hello. It's me, Mr. Fluck. Mr. Fluck, coming in your mole story. What am
he's
I
already
doing
he's playing
in
poor
your
stats.
mole Is he? Okay. Going away again. Mr. Fluck, going away, leaving your mole story.
Thank you. Enter, he shouted, and the door swang open to reveal Freddy Apocalypse.
Hey!
Come quickly, Satan, he said. There's some people using your resurrection machine. People, said Satan. You don't mean oxymoronic went up when they should have gone down, Sturgle, Floppy and Pronk people? I don't mean oxymoronic went up when they should have gone down, Sturgle, Floppy and Pronk people, said Freddy Apocalypse. I mean living dead, went the wrong way, humanoid mole people. Right, you flipping mole twits, said Satan, who was a character in a children's story and so wasn't allowed to swear. What are you doing with my fucking resurrection machine? A team of about 30 zombie mole people stopped ripping Satan's resurrection machine apart and looked up at him. Who's this ugly great lump? Said Veltar Yog. And why is he only wearing a towel? That's Satan, you dingbat, said Eladravin Bandan. Hi, Satan bloke. Nice towel, mate. Really shows off your penis. We came to see you earlier, but Death said you were busy. He said we could come down here and use the machine ourselves. I hope that's okay. No, it's not okay. It's no-K. It's no-K, said Satan. I've had just about enough of you stupid dead mole idiots. I wish I'd never stolen you from Death. Especially you, Eladravin Bandan. You've ruined hell for me. It was nice and quiet with no one being allowed to laugh at me. But now, thanks to you, everyone keeps pointing and saying, oh, look, there goes Satan, the big red idiot. Doesn't he have a funny pointy head? They're laughing all the way to the Bandan, said Eladravin. That doesn't even make sense. Bandan isn't a place. You can't laugh all your way to it. It's a joke, mate. It doesn't have to make sense. Of course it does. Otherwise I could just make up words like blurkinoid and say it's a joke. That's pretty funny, mate. Blurkinoid. Yeah, I'm going to laugh about that later. In fact, I'm going to laugh all the way to the Bandan. Now fuck off so we can resurrect the washing machines. Did you say resurrect the washing machines? Satan asked. I did say resurrect the washing machines. I also said fuck off. Why do you want to resurrect washing machines? So we can eat them again, you dingbat. We ate all the washing machines on Earth, and now we're all jonesing for some more. Human face just doesn't hit the spot. You can't resurrect washing machines, said Satan. They don't have a soul. Once you've eaten them, they're gone. 30 humanoid mole people stopped fiddling with the machine and turned to glare at Satan. Despite being the immortal lord of all evil, Satan felt quite perturbed. I'm going to get the blame for this, aren't I? Said Satan. Just because I stole you moles and killed you moles and resurrected you moles and made you moles evil, it's all somehow going to turn out to be my fault, as usual. It's so unfair. I'm going to lose a lot of pies over this. Pies? What the drill are you talking about, mate? What the drill? I'm going to decide how would mole people swear, right? And like sometimes when we expleet, right, we'll be like, oh God, or oh Jesus, because those are the most significant things to us.
Right.
And to a mole, like what the hell? It's all these like religious things, and what's religion to a mole? Drilling. What the drill, mate? What the drill? I'll be penalised, pies. I'll get a pie penalty in the game. What game? Snakes and ladders, said Satan. Only joking. The game is life. We basically mess around with you lot and get awarded pies for it. And who plays this game? We all do. All us elemental forces, also known as the Smith family. God, death, luck, mathy man, Father Time, Mother Earth, Uncle John, Beryl, the god of making sure the universe doesn't explode, even can only see one colour Steve, although he's rubbish at it. He can't see what number he's rolled, what piece he's moving, or what anyone else is doing, because he can only see one colour, and that colour is black. Black isn't a colour, actually, shouted a particularly smug mole person who everyone hated. So you all have control over us. Not exactly. God says free will is important. We put pieces on the board, start a war, cause a famine, invent Twitter. But you're free to react however you want. I can create the most despicable monster anyone's ever seen, full of hate and lies, completely devoid of charm, compassion or honour. But it's up to you whether you vote for him to be president of the USA. You can create things, then, said Eladravin. That is what I said, young mole man. Like, just for you. Like washing machines? But yeah, I suppose we could create washing machines if we wanted. If we were really stupid and boring and wanted to lose the game. Did you hear that, mole blokes? Said Eladravin. Because there weren't any female mole people, and there never had been. They weren't called humanoid mole people, were they? Did you hear that, mole blokes? Said Eladravin again. Now it had been established that he wasn't being sexist on account of how women don't exist. Satan's got a game that can create washing machines. Let's eat him. What? Said Satan. Well, here's on the floor, said Veltar Yog, and we mole people are famous for randomly eating things that we find on the floor. The humanoid mole people raised their spade-shaped drills and began chanting, "Eat Satan, eat Satan, eat Satan." And then they all leapt on the Prince of Darkness and began devouring him like he was a big red washing machine with legs. What are you doing? Get off me! Stop eating my face! Somebody help me! I'm being eaten by evil moles! Meanwhile, Death was in his death office doing death stuff, drinking a glass of death milk, eating a packet of death peanuts and watching his favourite movie, The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. Yeah, that's right, Death said to the screen. Have a nice chat with your wife, you dead idiot. Go and hang out in a child's bedroom, you spooky pedo. I'll get round to you eventually, stupid ghosts not knowing they're ghosts. You'd think they'd realise when they float through a wall or never have to eat anything. Suddenly there was a hammering at the door, powerful fists pounding against the ancient wood, and a panicked voice shouting, "Help! Help! Let me in, please!" Death took a deep breath and counted to 1. Because usually you count to 10, but he's busy. Death took a deep breath and counted to 1. Then he stalked over to the door, unlocked it, and let Satan fall into the room. "What happened to your face?" he asked, closing the door and relocking it. "Moles ate it," said Satan. "Those moles that are made evil attacked me and gobbled my face, and now they want to eat the rest of me. I don't understand. I'm an eternal being. I'm unhurtable. How did they manage to eat my face?" "It's your own stupid fault for breaking into Death's office and stealing his moles," said Death. "Death made those mole people when he was bored one time. He decided to make a species that could eat and kill anything, even washing machines. But then he realised, if they can kill anything, that means they can kill celestial beings too, and that's a bit dangerous, even for Death. So he put them in a cupboard and forgot about them, until some chunderbrain broke in here and let them out." "Why did you start referring to yourself in the third person then?" said Satan. "Oh, Death reasons," said Death. Tragically, before Satan could quiz Death further and maybe get a more satisfactory explanation, hundreds of fists began beating on the door, and Satan screamed a high-pitched scream. "Hide me, quick!" said Satan. "No," said Death. "Where can I hide?" Satan scanned the room for somewhere he might fit. Under the desk, behind the curtains, or maybe he should glue himself to the ceiling, like Doctor Who did that time. After all, humanoid mole people are famous for not realising that up exists. "I'll hide in the cupboard," said Satan, and rushed over to the wardrobe on one side of the room. He grabbed the door handles and yanked it open, just as he heard Death shout, "No!" from behind him. Before Satan knew what or who was going on, a skeleton had fallen right out of the cupboard and onto the floor. "You've got a skeleton in your closet," said Satan. "Is this your spare you? Do you have a spare you?" "Yeah, I've got a spare me," said Death. "You want to be careful leaving skeletons around the place," said Satan. "You never know when Ohio Grant might turn up and eat it." "It's time for you to leave now," said Death, grabbing Satan's arm and pulling him towards the door. "No, please, evil moles!" But Death paid no heed. He opened the door, pushed the screaming Satan into the corridor, and watched him get eaten to death by moles. "Hey, Death bloke," said Eladravin Bandan. "Which way to the room where you play the game of life?" "Get the lift to heaven, then take the first corridor on the right, and it's just after the snakes and ladders room." The humanoid mole people arrived in heaven, and there followed a protracted and epic war. The kind of battle that J.R.R. Tolkien could have written 800 pages about. The kind of skirmish J.K. Rowling could have used to kill off half her beloved characters. The kind of fracas that J.R.K. Rufus, the J.R.K. stands for just really cool, finds so boring that he's not going to describe it at all, but instead skip to the end and say only this. The moles won.
Hooray!
That's right, my friends. The moles attacked heaven. They got into that game room that was modelled on the computer room at our middle school back in the 90s. And they ate all the deities. Wow. God, Luck, Thor, Ganesh, Apollo, Inuku. I don't know who these fucking gods are. Howard only named about 4 of them. Suffice it to say that by the end of the epic and hella boring war, 23 celestial beings had been devoured, including Satan back earlier, and also probably at some point they broke into Death's office and ate that skeleton. All right, and the moles took control of the game room and consequently the universe. But wait, the eagle-eared among you may be saying, weren't there 26 celestial deities? I'm pretty sure it was 26 because that used to be Howard's favourite number, and he wrote it everywhere. There's probably a reason he used the number 26 so often. It seems an odd number to fixate on, and I bet there's an interesting story or cool reason that it meant so much to him. It definitely won't be anything hugely dorky. And that is a guarantee. Is there a reason, Howard, that I don't know?
Jesus, right?
Go on, tell us the truth. Go on, why did you used to write 26? I feel like I've been waiting for 26 years. Why was the number 26 so important to you? Everyone, Howard told me that it's because there were 26 seasons of Doctor Who before it got cancelled. Okay, anyway.
Highly unlikely.
Anyway, what, you're probably asking, about those other 3 members of the Celestial Smith family that are unaccounted for? Well, as the mole people finished devouring the elemental forces of the universe and set about trying to work out how to use the game to create tasty washing machines, 2 gaunt and hooded figures were standing in the doorway, watching.
What are they doing now?
Asked one of the figures.
Come on, tell me. You know I can't see more than one colour.
Jesus Christ, Steve, said Death. I'm starting to wish I'd picked someone else as my co-conspirator. Someone who can see more than one colour.
Hey,
said Can Only See One Colour Steve.
it's not my fault I can only see one colour, and that colour is black.
The moles are trying to work out how to create washing machines, Death explained. They're not doing too well. So far, they've created dog flavour custard, magic pants, and an intelligent flesh-eating supervirus called Barbara.
And have they really eaten all the other players?
I haven't done an official count yet, said Death, but I'm pretty sure it's only us 2 left, yeah.
But aren't the mole people likely to eat us next?
Said Steve.
They're bound to turn around and see us standing here sooner or later.
They won't eat me, said Death. I made them. I am their god.
No, you didn't,
said Steve.
The mole people were made by Death, not you.
The tall, bony figure with the cloak and scythe turned to face Can Only See One Colour Steve. I am become Death, he said, creator of moles.
Well, I'll always think of you as my good old friend and brother, Mathy Man.
Yeah! Don't say that name, said the figure dressed as Death, pulling his hood down to reveal a distinctly non-skeletal face. It doesn't matter who I used to be. I'm Death now. I've got the scythe and the cloak, and for this job, I don't need to know how many legs equals 20 legs. I just need to reap people. It doesn't matter that I can't count above 2. As Mathy Man watched the humanoid mole people throw dice at each other, stick game pieces in their mouths, and try to drill the board with their spades, he smiled the contented smile of a winner. His plan had worked beautifully. The mole people had eaten all his competition, leaving only him and Can Only See One Colour Steve in the game. And since Steve had never won a single pie since the beginning of time, 1 billion casquillion years earlier, Mathy Man was certain to win. And now he was, effectively, the only player. It didn't matter that he was completely incapable of counting his own pies to know how well or badly he was doing. Counting would never be necessary again, whether he had 1 pie, 2 pies, or one of those other numbers that came after 2, whatever they were. He would win. There was no one left to beat him. Oh, dear, yelled a voice from behind them. I overslept. I'm late. I've probably lost 1,000,000,000 pies. It'll take me centuries to get those pies back, even though it only took seconds to lose them, for some reason. Mathy Man spun round to see, thundering towards them, wearing a bathrobe, her hair wrapped in a towel, a cigarette hanging from her mouth, and a bottle of gin poking out of her pocket. Beryl, the god of making sure the universe doesn't explode. Beryl, said Mathy Man, hurriedly pulling his hood up to conceal his face. Why aren't you dead? Because I'm immortal, you simpleton, said Beryl, the god of making sure the universe doesn't explode. Really, Death, you're obsessed. Find something else to talk about, why don't you? Beryl, the god of making sure the universe doesn't explode, swept into the game room where she found a load of moles drilling it. What in the name of crikey is going on here? She demanded.
Listen, Mathy Man,
said Can Only See One Colour Steve.
Do you think we should stop those mole people from eating Beryl, the god of making sure the universe doesn't explode?
Why? said Mathy Man.
I don't know, in case there's consequences.
I'm sure it'll be fine, said Mathy Man, and they just kind of stood there while the humanoid mole people devoured Beryl, the god of making sure the universe doesn't explode.
Yeah,
said Steve.
Everything's always worked out fine in the past, hasn't it?
Epilogue. Just like the end of time, our story concludes with a bang. Indeed, it started with a bang and had quite a few in the middle as well. But it's too late to be worrying about those now. Just like the end of time, our story concludes with a bang and complete blackness. Bang.
Ow!
Sorry. Be careful what you're doing with your drill. You could have someone's eye out with that. And then the universe ended.
Little Howard dreamed of being a writer, and so he sat and wrote to every nighter. But everything he wrote was fucking shite, yeah. Wubba-dubba-doo, wubba-dubba-doo. Worst writer in the world. 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 He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer.
Well, Howard, that is it for another story.
No.
That is the end. That's the end. There is no more, and I'm sorry, but there's you're going to have to live without your weekly dose of us. Unless...
What?
Unless...
Yeah, what?
Well, we do have 2 other shows that you could listen to, if you haven't already. The Man by Cow podcast.
Awesome.
And the Gret Binchleaf show.
I mean, the Gret Binchleaf show, as it is famously known.
yeah.
Okay. If you've
not his
enjoyed,
name.
if you've enjoyed these last 3 episodes of The Worst Writer in the World, you're really going to enjoy the Gret Binchleaf show, because the Gret Binchleaf show is me and Rufus
Taking it into the right chapters exactly as we did the last 3 weeks, yeah. So you should check that out if you haven't already. They're both available on the British Comedy Guide, just like this one is, and from the same podcast apps as you use for this. Mm-hmm. So just search for Man by Cow or the Gret Binchleaf. No, don't. Search Gret Binchleaf. It's called something like Gret Binchleaf Private Eye. I can never remember. We changed the name. But hey, many people listening to this will be thinking, hey, guys, I've already listened to that.
I've already listened to all your content, your free 100 episodes.
Just over 100 free episodes you can get now of this show and the other 2.
What am I going to do now, Rufus and Howard? Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do now, Rufus and Howard. Assuming your name's Rufus and Howard as well. Probably isn't. Well, whatever your name is, right? There's lots more you can listen to.
So much more.
You just got to stump up a bit of the old Henry.
You think 100 episodes is a lot? There's many, many more available to members of the Secret Gang right now. Sign up and get your hands immediately on about a million episodes.
Definitely at least the same.
More than, because not only is there all the extended Worst Writer episodes,
yes,
there's unreleased Man by Cow episodes, there are Gret Binchleaf stories exclusive to the gang, and there is the Secret Gang podcast, of which there are already more than 70 episodes.
Wow.
And there's the complete history and history of Underspace, which has more than 30 chapters.
40, yeah.
And more to come. And the great thing about the Secret Gang is you can get new episodes from us every week by joining the Secret Gang. Mm-hmm. So while we're away from Worst Writer, don't worry, we're still there for you. Go to manbycow.com or patreon.com/manbycow and have a look. Doesn't hurt, does it? No one's going to put a brick on your head. No pressure.
Unless you select that tier. It's a really expensive tier.
Brick on head tier.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the weird thing about that is, of course, like, why are you paying for that? That's just something you can do.
You can
do that. That's free.
Yourself.
Anyone can put a brick on their head. Thank you for listening. We hope to see you in the Secret Gang soon and for more listening. And I don't know about you, Howard, but like I love them all.
Oh! Wow.
Yeah, I recently discovered my feelings. I'm totally in love with all of our listeners, especially that one.
Oh yeah. I mean, that is the best listener. Well, I guess I like them too.
All right. Well, see you later, everybody. Bye, Milk.
He's a stupid, suck-ass, rubbish writer. Yeah.